Hi, my name is Amarina Berkeley. Basically, the type of agency that I'm going to be working with is it's a hospital. Previously, I worked at a homeless agency. It was a homeless prevention agency. So the client population I dealt with in the past was mostly people who are either housing vulnerable or literally homeless and on the street. So the difference in populations now is pretty big. Basically, I'm going to be dealing with a very varied population at the hospital. I see people from every walk of life, every type of person, every demographic, from young age to old age, every racial ethnicity, every background. Eventually get sick at some point. So I'm going to have really a lot of exposure to different types of people, different levels of affluence, etc. So that's going to be a big difference for me. But I'm excited. There are some intersections of what I used to do and what I do now. And one thing is the causation. When I was working at the homeless prevention agency, a lot of the causation was either physical illness, mental illness. Um, Sometimes it was substance abuse, domestic violence, violence in general. Um, some of those causations are really similar in the hospital. People that I see, I'll be seeing either because of like a physical limitation, mental limitation, sometimes substance abuse, overdoses, etc. Also, you see people dealing with violence, domestic violence, even gang violence. We've had a couple of patients so far that have been, from prisons, that kind of thing as well. So there is a little bit of overlap, I guess you could say. Um, the floor that I spend the most time on seems to be the telemetry floor, and that is basically where I'm going to see patients who have more serious conditions that have to be monitored using devices, people that have heart conditions, stroke, that kind of thing. Um, those people seem to need the most planning for when they leave because they need to have a lot of interventional things set into place, whether it be visiting nurses or home oxygen or just finding out if their home is suitable to them. If they just had a heart attack and they're really limited, will they be able to go up 2 flights of stairs to get to their house? Um, Stuff like that. So I'm really excited about learning this other side of things. I think one thing that is going to be really, really interesting to me is seeing how to put together the whole piece of finding housing for people once they are either compromised or permanently disabled and can no longer work, um, or whether they're elderly, etc. Because that is something that has always really plagued me, is trying to figure out how to get housing paid for people and basic services, whether it be food, shelter, etc., or things they need like wheelchairs, nebulizer machine, a wheelchair, etc. I've always wanted to know how to put those things in place. So I think this job is going to really help me with that. Um, and that's what I'm hoping to get out of the field placement. And I think I basically explained a lot of the differences, but the differences in my personal role and activities, basically where previously I was trying to find people housing and then I was doing a lot of case management. In this particular situation, there's going to be much less follow up. I know that there isn't going to be a lot of like get togethers and case planning and stuff in the future, but there's going to be a heavy emphasis on putting the right services in place on the front end of things. And my role is going to be a lot different, I think, in that when I go home at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to even carry these things with me because every day you get a new set of patients. Most patients don't stay more than a week tops, and then you don't see them again potentially. So everything has to be done up front, and really an emphasis on collaboration is a big deal in this job. Whereas the other job, once I was a case manager or a social worker over a particular person, I could be that person's case manager or social worker for years on end and watch them go through the process of raising their children, finding childcare, um, getting their degree, driver's license, etc. In this type of position at the hospital, it's going to be basically just a very short interaction with no follow up necessarily. So it'll be interesting to see how that feels and how that works out. I know that the pace, because everybody comes and goes on such a rapid turnover rate, um, there's a lot of referrals and things that you have to do in a tremendously speedy fashion. And the documentation is ridiculous because of insurance companies. So that's going to be something I'll have to adjust to as well. But, I'm excited. I think that anything new that I can learn just enhances who I am as a social worker and makes me more well-rounded. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. It's completely different in a lot of ways than what I was doing in the past, but hopefully similar enough where I'll be able to dive right in. So thanks for listening, and good luck with your semester.